Okay, being British born of mixed race, African and Irish, I do feel that we are devalued because how we feel, which is natural, is that we are British, we're born here, it's all we know. I speak English, I cannot speak another language. However, we're then met with the rejection because I have melanin in my skin. So your British identity is discredited. So if I don't speak, people may assume, due to a false narrative, that we're not from here, or we only come in the 1950s, that I'm not from here and I don't have a right to here.
Who am I? You may hear my voice and think I'm a stranger to this place, that I don't belong. But you're wrong. I grew up down the road from here, yet people accept you on a lilt, and my Scouse melody of identity is dead. Still, I'm Toxteth born and bred. This city is in my blood is in this city, in the names of its streets. My granddad arrived on a ship over 100 years ago from Ghana, and from there roots grew and turned and grew until I arrived, all of what stands in front of you. But who am I? History's river, which flows red from him to me, has not been a straight river. There have been many upward currents, downward spirals, twists, turns and atrocities along the way. Liverpool's completely changed. When I was 9, the Georgian Quarter was home to needles, working class and ladies of the night. Money spent for money's comfort has swept that away. It is now gentrified. All the while, postcode, prisons and divisions stay the same. Why? Who am I? I was born in Thatcher's Britain when she managed Liverpool's decline. Racism, riots, inequality and poverty were mine to witness. In this bed of crime that Maggie made for us, opportunity for a girl from Toxteth was not easy to find. My mother, a clever woman who was also from these parts, took a decision that weighed heavy on her heart. She left Liverpool behind. In this bed she could not lie. Who am I? I am two sides of the coin, a mixture of privilege and the day-to-day struggle to survive. I left this city but always came back to it. It's my core, my home. It was always with me. Its spirit, its soul, the kindness you're shown when you arrive. A stranger's generosity when I've had no bus fare to get home. Being pursued and reunited with your purse or your phone. You'll never walk alone, not in this city. The kindest people I've known. Who am I? All of who I am is here. All around, inside.
It's a beautiful architectural city, like visually it looks beautiful, like the buildings, like the people, almost half of them. There's a certain amount that vibes, certain amount that don't, but I don't know, it's a beautiful city. Being here, obviously it gets a bit boring, but it gets nothing but love.
When I was growing up in the 80s, I remember seeing shops painted red, yellow and green.
And you know, Granby's always been like that. You would have a lot of music on the streets. It was the time of the boom boxes and radios on your shoulder with good speakers, so there was music up and down the street, literally.
I remember the music, I remember sound systems being played on the streets and vibration, you know, it was even more active than what it is now.
And it was a very Jamaican, Caribbean, African area with always Muslims in the area. The first mosque in this area was set up at number 6 Home Street, and it's going back 50 years.
Culturally, when I'm in Wirral, it's very alienating because, for example, I'll have one of my friends, he'll say, "Oh, Don, will you go to the bleep shop?" And not just that, it's also the community aspect of it, because unfortunately in Wirral, we don't have that. Because in Wirral, every mixed up black person knows each other because there's that few of us. So,
like where I'm from, which is Southport, it's very like white dominated. And very narrow. And around here I feel much more comfortable. Like around lunch lane and stuff. Like in most places I go, I always have to be defensive about racism. This is like one of the few places I know, just like within whatever, it's this block almost, where I feel comfortable and just more like understood. Like, I notice a lot of, I mean, to generalise, a lot of white people don't understand my jokes. I was in a cafe with my friend who's from Mauritius, and we were talking to the guy who was Yemeni, and I just made a joke, and they laughed. They just laughed loads, and I was like really surprised, and I thought, oh well, it's because I hang out mainly with white people.
When I was younger, I actually used to watch, I'm sure you've heard of Lab TV.
Yeah.
I used to watch that, and I used to think of Toxic like outsider looking in, sort of. And then when I came here, I didn't feel culturally alienated like I do in Wirral.
We were never known as Toxic, and suddenly the press talked about the Toxic riots. Although it wasn't a riot, it was uprisings, and it was uprisings for very good reasons. It was up specifically against police brutality and misbehaviour, misdemeanours, absolute racism.
So I remember when Granby Street was seen as the front line. I remember having an understanding at a very young age that the police were the enemy. You know, take that how you like, but as a child, that's how I perceived it to be, and it was never good when they were around.
They would target certain families, they were very rough, they didn't wear the numbers on the lapels.
They'd grab up young men who were just standing on the corner because they had nowhere else to go. And I was aware from a young age, when them men get grabbed into that van, then police are going to beat them up.
I mean, I saw things that did cause me trouble, but you couldn't report the police officer if they didn't have their numbers on. And following the uprising, we would be patrolled by police vans, and they would have guns on their knees, and they would be the heavy duty armoured police vans. There was only one way in and out of the Granby area, and that went on for years. It was deliberate disinvestment of an area. We didn't get our street lights fixed, we didn't get our bins emptied, and the shops closed up one at a time. The post office was closed, you know, the chemist closed.
Well, looking around Liverpool, you can see it's beautiful. However, when I was growing up, we did have a lot of waste ground. So you were growing up in this like concrete jungle, and it wasn't pretty, it wasn't nice, but it was all we knew, and you know, that was that. So that's the danger. It's the danger that you don't belong. So then everything that you do, it has got nothing to do with this place.
It's looking at poverty and what poverty does, and how poverty can fence people in, and wealth within an area that's poor means being free of stress, right? It means being free of worry, and there's a lot of things that people take for granted, but here they don't. And poverty is very expensive. People become ill, they become stressed out. There is an inequality in healthcare in poorer areas, there's an inequality in education, and there's an inequality in the houses that people live in and the environment in which they live. And one of the things that will cheer you up is to walk out and see some plants, see some flowers. Our values are about ensuring the continuation of a vibrant, multiracial, multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic community that's made of lots of different people.
Like even to this day, like I'll visit people, like I got the train elsewhere somewhere, and I would wrap up a bit more, like I'll try and make it sound bad, but I'll try and make myself look a bit more, not scary, but intimidating, just so I don't get approached. Like I'd chill with my hood up and that on the train and that, and walk around my hood up when I wouldn't normally do that, especially in my ends, because I feel a lot more free.
Well, I was actually thinking about it this morning, you know, William Burroughs, he wrote about the interzone, like an international zone where all different cultures could mix. Because I'm Indian, because around here there are not even many Indian people, but you know, it doesn't seem to matter around here.
And people who are born here are not immigrants, and people who now have the right to stay Neither are they immigrants because they have a right to stay, so they live here.
With the improvements in architecture due to Granby CLT, you begin to start liking the place again. You begin to have pride again. You actually want to live on these streets.
And people will only take responsibility for what they have control of, and if they think it's theirs.
Because when you feel you have a right to somewhere, you begin to love that place, and that means that you'll thrive in many different aspects. The community that you live, you'll treat with respect. You'll do better in education, and it's just a knock-on effect.
In itself, then, that brings all of the people together. There becomes a communality. So the communality is no longer the fight. It's now a proactive communality. It's one of doing and being creative with their ideas and sitting and enjoying. That's the real thing, is what on a hot day, seeing all the kids running riot in the street and the parents sitting down, watching them and enjoying it.
We had to deal with ourselves. And that's what happened. And from being isolated and alienated has come Granby CLT and the like. So it's thank you Liverpool City Council for leaving us out to dry, because that made us more militant, more persistent, more determined. And you've got the likes of me. I'm one. There's a few like me who understand we have to battle these people, and we have to be determined and continue, and we will get what we want, because you manage decline fail to recognise that you cannot manage the people of Liverpool 8, and you never have been able to, and we will do what we need to do because we love our community and we have our children growing here. We're not going to sit back and let you just destroy